Hello. This is something that's new to me, so I'm not going to be editing my videos or anything like that or making them fancy because I don't know how to. I only have a tablet for one. I don't know if that really hinders me from editing the videos, but I don't know. Yeah, so I just want to read a book to you guys that has really helped me in the past 6 years. I read it almost every day. It's a spiritual book. Most spiritual books, they speak to you about how to live, pretty much, kind of like the Bible does. Except the Bible comes with a lot of strings attached to it. This, not so much. Yeah, so I'm going to be reading paragraphs here and there to you guys. I'm going to try to do this every day. I was just watching a video the other day that was, this guy was talking about how we consume all the time and that we were put on this earth to create. We are not put on this earth to consume. And I guess you could call them our overlords. The people who feed us the news, the programs, the TV programs, all the TV shows and movies that we watch. The education that we get, all of it. It's all based on materialism. It's all based on consumption. It's all based on separation. It's based on emptiness, pretty much. I mean, I didn't find any fulfillment until I let all of that go. And still, I'm trying to find fulfillment because we weren't taught how to fulfill ourselves. We weren't taught how to live with each other in harmony, you know? And it's books like this that teach you that give you a glimpse of how to do that, of how to look within yourself and bring out that essence of harmony, grace, selflessness. You know, I mean, so pretty much what I was trying to say there is that I was watching the video and the guy was talking about, creating, even just doing something, one thing every day that's creating, instead of consuming. Try to do something that either helps others or helps yourself in some way so that you may help others. I mean, I'm pretty much physically crippled. I can't really walk very far, and I'm not going to explain what's going on with me, but anyways. So pretty much the only thing I came up with is sharing this book with people. Since it has helped me so much, I hope that it can help somebody else. And there's a lot in here that people won't understand, and I'll try to explain it when I feel like it needs explaining. Because even though I've been reading this almost every day for the past 6 years, I still learn things all the time from it. I'm always gleaning something new from it. And the thing's only 200 pages. So, and that tells you something about any book you read, or anything that you think you know. You know nothing. I know nothing. We can learn something all the time, even from the simplest things. Alright, this book is called The Golden Precepts of Esotericism by G.D. Brucker. This chapter is called The Inner God. The human soul is neither immortal nor mortal per se. It is the seat of will, consciousness, intelligence, and feeling in the average human being. It is not immortal because it is not pure enough to be truly impersonal. If it were, it would not be human, but superhuman. It is not wholly mortal because its instincts, its movements, the operations of itself are in a sense called purely mortal things of matter. Man has holy loves, aspirations, hope, and vision. These belong to the spirit, which is immortal and deathless, and are transmitted to this intermediate nature, or human soul, which human beings ordinarily call I. Much as the sunlight streams through the pane of glass in the window. The pane of glass is the vehicle or carrier, or bearer or transmitter of this wondrous quality or force streaming from the sun above. The human soul is like this pane of glass, letting through as much of the spirit, of the golden sunlight of the spirit, as its evolutionary development enables it to do. Evolutionary development, i.e. reincarnations. How can you explain that people who are born with certain abilities that they are naturally inclined to? I mean, how do you explain that? Reincarnation. You know? So anyways, the human soul is conditionally immortal if man allies himself by will and vision with the deathless spirit within and above. Immortal if he allows himself to be dragged down into what is called matter and material instincts and impulses, which are wholly mortal, which all die when death comes and frees the immortal spirit within. So that when man goes to his sublime home for the interlife period of rest and peace, only bliss and high vision and a memory of all that is great and grand in our past life remain. The soul itself, an ethereal vehicle or carrier of the deathless and immortal energies of the protective spirit or monad. The spirit is the immortal part of the human constitution. It is the monad, the monadic essence, that which tastes never of death, which lasts from the beginning of the Manvantara to the end of the majestic period of cosmic manifestation. Manvantara is a cosmic age. It's pretty much the Big Bang is an outbreath of the Creator. And when that whole entire cycle, the Manvantara ends, he breathes everything back in and then breathes back out, and there's another Big Bang. Pretty much, we are, this whole creation, trillions of years are one out-breath. And then you have an in-breath where the Creator is just, I can't know this for sure, but from all of the spiritual books, from all the spiritual teachings that I have read throughout these years, this is what I've gleaned from it. Okay, so I'm going to reread that paragraph. The spirit is the immortal part of the human constitution. It is the monad, the monadic essence, that which tastes never of death, which lasts from the beginning of the Manvantara to the end of the majestic period of cosmic manifestation. That which passes over the cosmic Palea to the beginning its spiritual and other activities again when the new cosmic Manvantara begins. And so on in cyclical periods, recurring forever. The spirit or monad is constantly growing. It is evolving on its way to become the super spiritual, finally to become the divine, then the super divine. Is that the end of its evolutionary possibilities? No, it advances ever, endlessly evolving and growing, but words fail here to describe the sublime conception. We cannot describe it in faltering human language. Our imagination falls palsied in any such attempt, and we can merely point to the evolutionary path vanishing both directions to infinity and into eternity as beginninglessness as it is unending. Come on now. Come on. Oh, good boy. Good boy. That is the spirit or the monadic essence. It is the God within. It is the bright intelligence which stirs and moves the inmost articulations of the higher parts of the constitution, which movements in their turn are reflected in the brain-mind, in the human mentality. It is the source of everything that is great and noble and high, pure, good, aspiring and clean in the human being. It is the source of immortal love, the source of self-sacrifice, the source of all harmony and beauty in the human being. The feeling of I am, that is the spirit, the immortal monad, the undying, the stainless, the eternal God. The human soul is a ray of it. This ray is what you recognize as the human being, the feeling that I am I. And the soul, even as is the spirit, is a growing, advancing, progressing, evolving thing, growing ever greater. And in the far distant aeons of the future, the soul will in its turn have so evolved forth its own innate and latent capacities, powers and faculties, the splendor within itself, that from soul it shall have become spirit, because the root or seed of the soul is a spiritual ray. When this shall be in its culmination, then man shall have evolved from manhood into human godhood, from a human being into an incarnate God. Then will the God within you manifest itself with its transcendent faculties and powers, and you will have become a living Buddha. A human spirit is a deathless entity. It is a part of the very fabric of the life universal, in its inmost parts. In this spirit of man, this inner being, this spiritual soul, is pursuing an eternal pilgrimage in space, infinite in space and eternal in time. It passes from mansion to mansion of life, sojourning, now here, now there, learning everywhere. The earth is one such mansion, in fact. Every sphere, every orb in the celestial spaces is another mansion of life. The greatest lessons are learned in the invisible worlds. For this physical world that we see, despite its physical splendor, its illusory and magical interest, is but the shell, the garment, the body, the exterior. And just as from the interior of man flow forth all his thoughts, all his inspiration, all his genius, all his powers and energies into the physical, and express themselves in the works that man does, so precisely all the manifestations that we see in the physical universe are but the expressions of the indwelling energies and faculties and powers and forces within that universe. This eternal pilgrimage of the spiritual soul of man is not only in this cross-section of the physical universe, which our imperfect eyes can see, but most especially in the invisible realms, in what men call the spiritual worlds. For there are grades upon grades upon grades of them, higher and higher and higher and higher. But this God within, an eternal pilgrim, learns eternally, going higher and higher and higher, and like human races on earth, which after reaching their culmination of splendor and civilizations, fall to rise again. So does the monad, the God, the spiritual soul, pass from the spiritual worlds down into ethereal matter, learning in each and rising again out of each in order to reach a still higher peak of destiny. then down into the ethereal material realms again, then another rise to something still more lofty and sublime, and so on forever, i.e. reincarnation. Oh, the peace and happiness that come from aligning yourself with this inner splendor, this alliance of life and consciousness with this inner divinity, brings everything of worth into your life. And in so aligning yourself, you become one with the energies and forces that control the universe, of which this inner God of you is a spark of the central fire. And when this inner union is achieved in fullness, you are on the pathway to human divinity. Buddhahood lies ahead of you. Basically, Buddha, the Buddha, just like Christ, Jesus Christ. Jesus was the person. Gautama was Buddha. They were expressing the spiritual essence within them and sharing it with humanity. They had reached such a high point of evolution after so many incarnations of working towards that divinity that they were able to teach others of how to live rightly, justly, selflessly. This knowing of your inner self, of your inner God, is an expansion of your own consciousness. It is growth, it is evolution, it is coming to an understanding of all that exists. And when you have even some admiration of this vision, some inkling of it, some hint of it, then such a thing as fear vanishes. Death loses all its terrors for you. So you know you are one with the all, inseparable, that you are in fact the all itself, and therefore you are in your utmost reaches frontierless, because in very truth there are no utmost reaches. You never can reach the frontiers of yourself, your divine self, never, for the innermost parts of you are the very spiritual universe in which you live and move and have your being. It is the outer senses that distract our attention from the splendor within. In very truth, the five senses distract our attention away from the temple of the Most High, from the spirit within the human constitution, manifesting through the human body. They are expressions of five different energies of the intermediate nature of man, and are the avenues, or function as such, by which man may become self-consciously aware of the outer world. In a way, these senses are a help, and in another manner they are a detriment to progress. They are a help because they show somewhat of the nature that is around man, and it is through the senses that much of this ordinary consciousness at the present time functions. Thus learning much about the world and fellow human beings. This learning ultimately teaches lessons of self-control and helps to awaken the faculties of pity, of love, of compassion, and of the will to do better, which are within man. Man's inner spirit is the temple of infinitude, of its manifold life energies and life powers. And in the course of our cyclic progression into matter, these life energies and life powers manifest themselves outwardly. But we are now on the ascending arc of progressive development. He's talking about right now in this age, the Aquarian age, the age that we are coming into. Because with each age, the energies of the universe transmit themselves through us differently. So, these life energies and life powers manifest themselves outwardly. But we are now on the ascending arc of progressive development, and the whole trend of future evolution will be the development in mankind of the urge towards, and therefore the ultimate faculty of, looking inwards, so that individual man may know himself as one of the collaborators with the gods in the construction and government of the universe, as one of the sparks of the infinite cosmic fire. where man has everything locked up within him, every power and energy that exists in the infinite spaces, and all evolution is but the bringing out of these locked up powers, the unfolding as a flower unfolds of what is within. The inner God is forever within you, surrounding you, overshadowing you, waiting for you, waiting, 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 brought out into manifestation only through the aeons. As the aeons pass into the ocean of the past through self-directed evolution, which is the development of the inner man, of what you are in the core of your being, into manifestation through the outer man. The whole purpose of evolution is the thinning of the thick veils of mind and matter, so that the light in the holy temple, which is the human heart, may splendorously illumine man. May everyone be as blessed and feel as blessed as I do.